Okay, so I'm selling my first house that I've had as a rental for the past 12 years to a good friend of mine who's going to use it as a rental himself. And he went to the bank because he wanted to see where he could get the best program for a mortgage. And, being a good friend, I told him, listen, if you can't get what you're looking for from the bank, come back and see me, and we'll see if we can work something out here at my brokerage, and we'll take care of the loan for you too. So he goes into the bank and, he's one of these guys. I have perfect credit. I've got money in the bank. I've got good income. I should get, the best program. Comes to find out that he's going to end up having some adjustments to his pricing. So anytime, in case you haven't seen this before, anytime that you are borrowing money against a house that is an investment property, or if you're taking cash out, or if it's even a second home, you're going to have price adjustments that you don't have on your primary residence. And what that means is, let's say the going rate is 4.5%, just using a number. And you may still get the 4.5% on the investment property, but what the bank may do is they may charge you 1 to 1.5% of the loan amount in points to offset their risk for giving you a loan on an investment property for the same amount down that you would put down on a primary residence. So these adjustments come directly from Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae sets the risk adjustments that they pass on to the bank, and sometimes the banks will have their own margins in there. In most lenders have these type of adjustments. So government loans, conventional loans, even some subprime loans, you're going to have adjustments for the property type in use. You're also going to have the adjustments for the type of loan and purpose of the loan. So if I'm taking cash out of a loan, that's riskier to the bank than if I'm just refinancing what I already have. So there's going to be adjustments, those type of things there. So in this case here, he was reluctant to pay the adjustments and wasn't sure if he was still going to make the purchase. So we looked at his overall scenario and talked about his primary residence that he happens to own free and clear. Primary residence is worth about $350,000. The house he's buying as a rental is only $125,000. So basically, he could take the money out of his primary residence as a first lien against his house, have as good of a rate and better costs, or less costs, and not have the adjustments that we're talking about here. So basically what he'll do is do a refinance, take the cash out, use that money to put down on the other house. His adjustments for the cash out are not that high because he's such a low loan to value in his primary residence. So it's worth, say $350 and he's only borrowing $125. That's a very small amount. That's like 35% of what his house is worth. So he's not actually borrowing a high percentage, so he's not going to have a high adjustment. So it's cheaper for him to take the loan on his primary residence and then use that money as cash to make the purchase to buy my investment property. Saves him some money. It saves me from having to get an appraisal on the investment property. Saves everybody all around. With the type of loan he's doing on his primary residence, he can actually get a property inspection waiver, which means he doesn't even have to pay for an appraisal on his primary residence too. So it's actually a pretty good strategy. So if you're looking to make a purchase on an investment property or second home and you have some equity in your first property, there may be some advantages of doing that. Tax advantages might be there. There's a lot of things that you can look at as far as factors in making your decision. So contact a trusted loan officer. I do this all the time. 586-615-2868 if you have any questions, and good luck.